So rotation is finally here, and I for one am very excited to pretend there are decks worth playing not named Dragapult. Okay, seriously though, although Dragapult is probably the top dog in this format, those number 2 and number 3 spots are looking a lot more competitive. Here's one deck that I am very excited to see, Arboliva. This deck kind of came out of nowhere to take a solid 2nd place finish in Champions League Fukuoka, and it's been a consistent part of the metagame ever since. Arboliva EX from Destined Rivals, Oil Salvo will do 20 damage 6 times to our opponent's board. While 120 is kind of a small number, the fact that we can spread it out however we want makes it a very efficient way of dealing with evolving basics. If we can get this card up and ready early, we can win the game before our opponent can even get set up. To help facilitate this, of course, we are playing Force of Vitality. This stadium allows our grass Pokemon to evolve the moment they're put into play, assuming it's not our first turn. This is already looking pretty cool. The only issue is, what if our opponent does get their evolving basics fully set up? What if they're not playing evolving basics? They're playing like Mega Kangaskhan or something. How are we going to take those knockouts? Well, that's where the rest of the deck comes in. Teal Mask Ogerpon EX has the Teal Dance ability, which is not only a very great draw engine, but it also powers up its Myriad Leaf Shower attack, doing 30 damage plus 30 more for each energy attached to both Pokemon. Combine this with Meganium, whose Wild Growth will double all the grass energy we have in play, and all of a sudden, it's not too hard to hit for 300 damage or more with a single attack. Let's go over the card by card here. We are of course on 4 Teal Masks. We also have a 2/2/2 line of Chikorita, Bayleef Meganium, and a 2/2/2 line of Smoliv, Dolliv, and Arboliva. Be very careful here. If you prize one and lose the other, that can be a lot of trouble. We don't have that much recovery in this deck. We also have 2 copies of Meowth EX. If you haven't seen this card before, get ready to see it a lot. Last Ditch Catch will get any supporter we want when we put this card into play. And then we have Budew and Fezandipiti EX just because they are very good Pokemon. Going to the trainers, we have 4 Lillie's Determination, 3 Dawn, which goes crazy with Force Vitality, 2 Boss's Orders, 1 Lana's Aid, 1 copy of Judge, 4 Bug Catching Set, 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Poké Pad, 1 Night Stretcher, 1 Unfair Stamp as our ace spec of choice. This is the best ace spec post rotation by a mile. You better be playing this card if you have it. We have 1 Air Balloon, 4 Force Vitality, and 12 Grass Energy closes out the list. The only thing I want to talk about with this list, which is the exact list that got 2nd place at Fukuoka, is that there's no way to actually search out Force of Vitality. We kind of just have to draw it. So to help us get access to Force of Vitality more consistently, we can for example cut a copy of Judge for Team Rocket's Petrol or Chorus's Tenacity. This does get rid of very valuable hand disruption, but it can be worth it just for that boost in consistency. Keep in mind that with Meowth EX, playing 1 copy of a supporter that searches Forest essentially bumps their Forest count from 4 all the way up to 7. Additionally, some players will cut a copy of Judge and a copy of Meowth EX to fit Hoo-Hoo and Noctowl. Noctowl's Jewel Seeker works beautifully with Teal Mask Ogerpon and allows us to very easily search out any 2 trainers we choose. Something like Dawn plus Force Vitality goes pretty crazy. Still, we'll be sticking with this exact list for now. So of course, all that said, if you enjoy the video, please subscribe. We just passed 350, which is really cool, but I think it'd be even cooler if I could get to 400 or even 500, so thank you. Alright, let's get into the games. So this first match is up against Lucario. This is a very quick game. We're going second, but I feel like this is a pretty good showcase of how the deck is supposed to operate. Now this hand is overall pretty good. I mean, we have all the Pokemon we need. We have the Force we need. We'll lead Smoliv, and our opponent will lead Lunatone and begin their turn. They'll start these off with a Fighting Gaunt to get a hold of Solrock. They'll bench the Solrock, and then they'll play Poké Pad to get a hold of a Riolu. Riolu hits the bench as well, and that's just it for their turn. Sure, that looks pretty good for us. Let's start things off with our own Poké Pad here. We'll get a Budew to our hand. We'll bench Budew and then we'll fire off Dawn. We'll grab a Teal Mask, a Dolliv, and an Arboliva in this case. We'll attach for turn onto the Smoliv. We'll retreat right into Budew. We'll bench Teal Mask, and we don't really need to play Ultra Ball. Let's just Itchy Pollen and see what our opponent can do. They didn't have an energy last turn, and they're under item lock, so I don't think they'll be doing very much this turn. And they do in fact just pass. Yeah, turns out it's pretty easy to win when you do not have an opponent. Let's throw down the Forest, and then we'll throw down Dolliv and Arboliva. We can go for Lillie's next. All we need is an energy, and we don't quite get it, but I mean, this looks kind of close enough. We'll Ultra Ball, pitching the Dawn and the Air Balloon. We'll just grab a Bayleef for deck thinning purposes. Then we'll go for Bug Catching Set, and we do in fact hit the energy. That's all we need. We'll throw down Meganium, although we don't really need to. We'll Teal Dance for 1. We hit another Chikorita. That's fine. We'll just retreat right into Arboliva here, attach the Grass Energy, and we'll fire off the Oil Salvo. This attack does not hit for weakness, so we're not easily taking out Lunatone, but we will be able to take out that Riolu on the bench, and we'll just put the rest onto Lunatone just because, and now it's back to our opponent. They'll draw for turn, and then they'll just concede. There really wasn't much coming back from that anyway. This next match we're up against Team Rocket's Mewtwo. I was really hoping I could match it to a big basic deck that I could show off the Ogerpon half of this deck a little bit better, but this is about the closest I could find. Also, Tarantula only having 50 HP means that Arboliva goes insane here. Anyway, we're going second again, and we have to mulligan, but it's not all bad. This new hand is still not great, but you know, it's something. We will lead our Smoliv, and our opponent will lead with Mewtwo. They'll start with attaching a Team Rocket's energy, and then they'll go straight for the Proton. Lovely. I'll get them a Mimikyu and 2 Tarantula. They'll bench everything, throw down an Articuno as well, and that's it for their turn. Okay, well, it's back to us now, and Lillie's is pretty good for us now, actually. We'll go for Poké Pad. Let's just start things off with Budew, I suppose. We'll attach onto Smoliv. We'll Ultra Ball next. We'll pitch the Dolliv in the Grass Energy. From here, we'll grab a Teal Mask. We'll bench Teal Mask. We'll Lillie's for a new hand, and this looks pretty good, honestly. We'll just retreat into Budew. We'll Teal Dance for the 1 card. Another Grass Energy is actually quite nice for us, and we'll just end our turn with an Itchy Pollen. Back to our opponent, and they give a thumbs up emoji for some reason. Well, anyway, they'll attach onto the Mewtwo. They'll go for a Giovanni. They'll bring in their Mimikyu and our Smoliv, and they'll retreat right back into Mewtwo, and they'll go for their attack. I mean, yeah, you took out the Smoliv, I guess, but I mean, I don't think that's that much of a flex, is it? We'll bring in Budew, and now it's back to us. We'll draw, and another Lillie's is pretty good. We'll start with the Forest first of all. Now we'll go for Meowth here. No need to try and draw into what we need when we can just search it out. Let's just get Dawn, and we'll play Dawn. We'll just grab the entire Arboliva line here. We can throw the entire thing down. We can retreat right into Arboliva, put a Grass onto it, and now we'll just keep playing out our hand. Let's Poké Pad for a Chikorita. Bench you. I suppose we'll Ultra Ball. We'll get rid of the Lillies and the Fez. We'll grab Bayleef, and then we'll evolve straight into Meganium. To be honest, ditching Fez, probably not the correct move here, but it's what I choose to do in this case, and those draws are very interesting. Well, we'll go for the double Bug Catching Set here. Why not? I guess it's a Grass and another Meganium. We'll Teal Dance for energy, and from there I don't think we really need to use the second Bug Catching Set, so let's just go for the Oil Salvo. We can put 60 onto Tarantula, we can put 60 on the other Tarantula, and take an easy 2 prize cards just like that. Grass and Ultra Ball are also pretty good ones to pull, to be honest. It's back to our opponent. They take a little while. I decided to give a thumbs up emoji because, to be honest, I was just in a really bad mood when playing this game. They'll put a Rocket's energy onto the Mimikyu and then draw 7 off the Ariana. Then they'll throw down 2 Tarantula. They'll follow it up with Ultra Ball, pitching an Articuno and a Grass Energy, getting a hold of Spidops here. Thanks to our Forest, they're actually able to play Spidops right away. Then they'll use the Charging Up to attach a Grass Energy onto it. Still, I mean, Mewtwo caps out at 280 damage, so I don't care that much. Like, either way, our Arboliva is going to tank a hit, and it's going to do a lot more damage with that Oil Salvo. That said, they do fire off the Erasure Ball. They don't discard any energy. They hit for 160. I don't care very much. We basically have everything we could ever dream of in our hand. Let's see if we can put it onto the board. We'll Ultra Ball for the second Ogerpon. We'll bench that right away and go straight for a Teal Dance, attaching an energy onto it. Next, we'll Bug Catching Set, and we do hit the energy. That's beautiful. Well, from here, we'll just Teal Dance again, put another energy onto this Ogerpon, and I think at this point, we kind of just have checkmate. We'll attach Return onto the second Ogerpon. We'll go for another Oil Salvo. This time, we'll take out the other Mimikyu and the Tarantula and claim another 2 prize cards. It's back to our opponent now, but I'll be honest, I think this is kind of unwinnable for them. They go for a Proton here of all things to search out a singular Mewtwo, which pretty much signals to me that this game is over. They'll bench the Mewtwo, then they'll retreat into it for some reason. They can use Spidops' Charging Up to put an energy onto it. Sure, they'll put a Rocket's energy onto the Mewtwo. Then they'll energy switch to move the other Grass energy onto the Mewtwo. What are we accomplishing here? I have no idea. Their last card is a Stretcher, which they'll use on Tarantula. Fine. After dumping their entire hand to do kind of basically nothing, they'll finally go for an Erasure Ball, taking the knockout on our poor little Arboliva. Well, anyway, I think we'll wrap this up. We'll draw, and let's just go straight for the Myriad Leaf Shower. That's a pretty easy one-shot from this position. Bye-bye, Mewtwo. Our final match is against the big bad of the format itself, Dragapult. We're going first, and this hand is Chikorita MEG, glad to see you. We'll lead the Chikorita, of course. Our opponent will lead with Lillie's Clefairy, which is in fact a legitimate card you can play in Dragapult now. It's good into the Mirror and also Lucario. So anyway, we'll start things off with a Poké Pad here. I guess we'll just grab a Smoliv. We'll bench a Smoliv, and honestly, we'll just pass. Going right back to our opponent, they'll start by benching a Dreeby, and then they'll go straight for the Crispin here. They'll add a Fire Energy to their hand and then attach a Psychic to the Clefairy. Then they'll go on to attach a second Psychic to the Clefairy and go straight for the Full Moon Rondo, but That's not quite enough to knock out our Chikorita. Well, I guess we have some options here. I think we'll go for Dawn. I choose to get Teal Mask, Dolliv, and Arboliva. We get Teal Mask to draw 1, and drawing it to Forest is crazy. My plan was just sort of play it slow, just manually evolve up into Arboliva, and then go for the attack. But with this, we're in a much better spot now. I think we can just pass our turn here. Back to our opponent who will draw. They'll start things off by playing down Dracloak, and then going straight for the Recon Directive to get one more card. They'll pop in next, they'll get another Dreepy as well as the Budew. Anyway, they'll retreat into Budew. They'll attach their third Psychic Energy onto the Dracloak, which I think is really dangerous. I think you're going to run out. And then they'll take the knockout with Itchy Pollen. Don't see that every day. Well, we'll just bring in the Arboliva. This honestly looks pretty good for us. I think attaching the energy to the Dracloak and not a basic Dreepy was kind of a big misplay on their part. We'll start things off with Meowth here. We really need an energy here, so we'll grab a Lillies. We'll put an Air Balloon onto our Arboliva, and then we'll go straight for the Lillies, getting 8 new cards, and unsurprisingly, we do hit the Grass Energy. We'll bench Fez here as well, see what else we can grab. Boom Script gets us 2 more energy cards. It's actually really good. We can bench the Ogerpon we drew and Teal Dance there, then we can Teal Dance again with our other Ogerpon, and finally we can put a Grass Energy onto the Arboliva and go straight for that Oil Salvo. Not only do we snipe the Dracloak on the bench, but we also get to put some excess damage onto their bench Dreepy. We'll take our 1 prize card and pass it right back to our opponent. They'll start things off by benching yet another Dreepy. They'll put a Fire Energy onto one of their bench Dreepies, and they'll go for the Meowth here. Meowth's last ditch catch will get them a Lily's Determination. They're going to play this and try to see what they can get with 6 new cards. They'll evolve 1 Dreepy into Dracloak, which is fine, I suppose. They'll Ultra Ball pitching a Monkey Dory and a Dawn to get a Dragapult. That's kind of scary because it means, yup, there's the rare candy. Well, Arboliva certainly can't handle Dragapult very well, and there's the Unfair Stamp to finish it off. Okay, well, Bug Catching Set is actually a pretty nice draw, so I guess I'm not that upset. They'll Recon for 1 more card, and then they'll go for the Itchy Pollen. Okay, honestly, I think this is fine. Grass Energy for turn is actually quite nice. We'll go for the Teal Dance here. We'll attach the grass and draw 1 more card. And we draw it into Judge. Well, that's not bad at all. We'll get ourselves a new hand. We'll cutting down their hand just a little bit. Those cards are fine. Boss is nice. We can't use Bug Catching Set this turn. In any case, all we can do now is just Oil Salvo. We'll take out that bench Dracloak for sure. And with the excess damage, let's just take out the Budew as well. We get a Grass Energy and an Unfair Stamp off the prizes. Honestly, this looks pretty good for us. They're going to Ultra Ball here. And of course, they can do what they can here, but they can't knock out our Arboliva right now. They can't even knock out our bench Teal Mask right now. They will be able to get the Fezandipiti and the Lilies for a new hand of 6. They'll Poké Pad for the Dusknoir, which I will admit would be scary if you had it on your board, but you don't even have a Duskull yet, and we still have the Oil Salvo to take out any Duskulls you play. I still feel pretty good. They'll flip the script to draw even more cards. They'll evolve into Dracloak and go for the Recon Directive. They'll bench their Duskull now, and they'll go for the Jet Headbutt. Looks like playing 3 Psychic Energy early in the game was kind of a misplay because they missed their chance to Phantom Dive now. And with that, I think we're far enough ahead to just win the game. We'll start with the Bug Catching Set. I guess we'll grab Dolliv, and of course we'll grab a Grass Energy. We'll go for the second Bug Catching Set here. We'll grab Meganium plus Smoliv. Next, we'll go for a Teal Dance, draw 1 card. Ultra Ball is honestly a pretty good one. We'll continue with another Teal Dance, draw another card. The other Grass Energy is again pretty good. We'll Ultra Ball here. By pitching the Forest and the Dolliv, we can grab a Chikorita, and thanks to the Forest we have in play, we can retreat into Ogerpon, throw down Meganium straight away, attach a Grass Energy for turn, and swing for a whopping 360 damage into the Dracloak. Yeah, I think we have this game on lock, and our opponent agrees. And we're back. Obviously this is a meta deck. It feels good to play a meta deck because you have a lot of options here. One matchup I really struggled into was Mega Starmie. I didn't include any games of that because, to be honest, I couldn't tell if I was actually losing because I was misplaying or because it's just a really good matchup for them. But obviously a 300 HP Pokemon that only attaches 1 energy to attack, we can't deal with that with our Arboliva, and we also can't really deal with that with Ogerpon. It takes a lot of work to get that set up, and we just fall behind way too easily. Still though, this feels pretty solid to Dragapult. It feels good into anything that's running Evolving Basics, assuming they're not playing Shaymin, which this early in the format people are not picking up on that yet. And of course, it's also just really fun into these sort of big basic pile slop decks where they just get like whatever attacker, give whatever energy to it. Well, we'll just punch you with Ogerpon and take a knockout. So overall, this is a very good deck. If you have the chance, definitely give this one a go. It's super cool. Only thing I will say is with this exact list, definitely find some way to search out the Forest. That was my biggest frustration with this deck, was that sometimes I would just lose because I couldn't get Force Vitality up fast enough. So definitely cutting that Judge or cutting that Meowth to fit in your knockout line or your Petrels or Chorus or whatever feels good to you. I think that's a pretty swell idea. That's all. Thank you.